Hello, everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel, It Has Been Said. The reason I've started this YouTube channel is, well, there's a couple reasons, but the main one is I've been teaching the Bible for about 40 years and um, don't have a main avenue in order to do that right now. So, friends of mine who have heard me teach said I should start a YouTube channel. So, they've helped me out to get started and maybe been of benefit to somebody. The nice thing is you can either watch it or not watch it, subscribe or not subscribe. It's totally up to you. But as an introduction, I wanted to do a video on why I'm doing this. The main reason being I believe in ancient wisdom. I believe that there's things that have been said before that are forgotten or ignored today that would be of great benefit to all of us. And so the goal here is the rediscovering of ancient wisdom. Because today it is exhausting sometimes, the modern pace of change. There's so few days sometimes, well, it used to be when I was a little boy, there were years you'd see something come up, and now science fiction looks like it's right around the corner. Every day we go to sleep and wake up the next and find there's new things that have been brought on to technology and so forth. And I wonder if we're not losing something sometimes. Now, don't worry, I'm not a card-carrying Luddite. I'm on YouTube now. I've taught online at university level. I have a laptop. I have a cell phone. I'm just saying that I think we're losing something in our speed of change today when we don't look back and see what has been said before and the wisdom that was in that. When I was in China, taught there in university for about 5 years. There was this thing you would see written on the fronts of stores when you'd walk through the marketplaces and malls and stuff, and it was time-honored tradition. And the idea there is, of course, it invokes in the shopper a sense of uh, I can trust this place, confidence to go in and buy things from it. And so that was not uncommon for a collective culture that honors their elderly and listens to wisdom from before. And here in a Western culture, we also have those kinds of things. So if you see on a storefront, been in business since 1995, you're going to say, oh, wow, they've been around for 30 years. They must be doing something right. So we too have this sense that something that has been around for a while has a sense of consistency and dependability and success for whatever reason, whether it's they've learned how to pivot when needed and stay in business, right? So these are things that I think we still have inside us to look at older things. But the attitude recently has seems to have been that things that are old, that's going backwards. Well, in Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verses 9 through 10, there's a phrase that says, there's nothing new under the sun. So I wonder if things are really changing or if we're just rearranging them sometimes. Yes, there is change, but I think what we call change is actually just something that's been done before and it's being regurgitated or rearranged, and it's not as new as we might think it is. A culture, technology, and the environment, yes, there's change going on in those things, or again, rearranging at the very least in those things. But one thing that has been consistent, if you look at human history, is the human heart. It hasn't really changed much in thousands of years. It still has its struggles, and it shows itself in all the different historical documents that there is a problem with the human heart. So let's look at this idea that there's nothing new under the sun. Now, I live by a 2 point axiom, or two axioms, perhaps, two separate ones. One is all are created in God's image. So, all of the human race, no matter who you are, no matter where you're from, you have been made in the image of God. And what does that do? That gives you a spark of divinity. That gives you a sense of light within you. And it also gives you incredible value. God values you. And so that makes you capable of incredible goodness and beauty and creativity and love and joy. All of that is within you as a member of the human race. The second axiom, however, is all are a broken version of that image. So at the exact same time that you are made in the image of God, you're a broken image of God because of the original sin of Adam. He's passed that on to all of us, and now what God made to be beautiful has been broken. It's tainted. And that's why human beings, when they're can be so beautiful and so good, are also capable of the greatest evils and the most horrible cruelties to each other. And so I see everyone in these two axioms, and it helps me to be able to value everybody, but it also gives me the ability to forgive and understand when people fail and people don't accomplish what they talk about wanting to do. And I'm the same. I'm one of these broken images of God. And so that is very important to me, and I get that from ancient wisdom. That's the Bible tells me these two things are going on at the same time. And so that's very valuable to me. There's nothing new under the sun. This has been going on since the beginning of creation. The human heart has been a broken uh, picture of the goodness of God. But within ancient wisdom, there's also this sense of discovery. So there's always this pushing, this desire to learn more and do more. And there's also this sense of mystery, so that there we can never know it all, right? So there's curiosity and scientific discovery, and that's all great. I'm a scientist by education. I love discovery. I love looking into things and seeing what I don't know yet. But there's also this sense that we just don't know it and may never know it all. But that people struggle with mystery today. There's a sense that if we just look harder, we can find the answer to this, and therefore we don't have to believe something we don't completely understand. And to me, that's not reasonable because that's suggesting that everything can be known. And surely there are things that I can't know, but right now I can rest in the fact that I don't know them. And there's a mystery involved, and there's a beauty in mystery. There's a sense of being at the will of that mystery and saying, you know what, I'm not in charge of everything. And so this goal of knowing everything can be very dangerous, I think, in the long run. So something new is not automatically better. And that's one thing that I think we struggle with in this day and age is that if it's new, it's good. If it's old, it's going backwards and we shouldn't think about it or we shouldn't do that. That can be a problem. I believe that there's an influence on Darwinism in this because what Darwinism suggests is that everything is evolving, and so therefore that which is new must be better than what was old because what was old has been outgrown. And that may be true in a biological sense if you're an evolutionist, but this thought process, this idea, this philosophy has also crept into things like anthropology and psychology and all these different things. So therefore, cultures evolve and different ways of people's thinking evolve, and therefore evolution must move from primitive to more complicated. And that's not necessarily the case, even in evolutionary thought. There are branches of the tree that come to extinction because it doesn't accomplish what it was supposed to do. So it's not reasonable to consider the fact that everything that is old must be primitive and everything that is new must be better. It's also influenced by humanism. Humanism, of course, is the idea that humans are in charge. They can make change for themselves. They can accomplish things if they set their minds to it because they're powerful as a force. I'm not as much a humanist anymore. We're all practical humanists here in the West. There's no doubt about that. But I've leaned more in a fatalistic direction. I believe that there is a God in heaven that is really in charge of all these things. And so, therefore, that which is old, which he spoke from the beginning, and I can understand to a mysterious point, I can rest in that. I can trust in him. I can trust in a power greater than myself. And that's where my fatalism helps me to see that things that are old could be better and things that are new aren't necessarily moving us in the right direction. And because of this, I wonder sometimes if do we really have any new or original ideas anymore? Um, could it really exist? Could a new idea really completely exist independently of past events and knowledge? I'm really not sure that's true. And yet, that's what we do. I mean, you scroll through your phone or you watch the news on TV or something like that. People come up with these ideas that they say are brand new. But like Ecclesiastes and Solomon the Wise, he says there's nothing new under the sun. We just repackage it. Or maybe we've forgotten that that was said before. And now here we are saying it again as if it was brand new. So I do wonder about that. Because everything, in the very beginning, foundational truths were laid down. And a lot of them have been lost. And we need to see if we can find them again or ask for the grace of God to show us them again. Because on top of that foundational truth, then there's ancient history and ancient wisdom that we can look back and see if we can find. But those things also started to move away from the foundational truths, yet are supported. Their weight sits upon the foundational truths. Those don't change. And then you had cultural shifts that took place and take place on a regular basis, and again in a more speeded rate today. Historical conclusions were come to, and you can read about those, but those are still their own cultural biases, if you will, of that moment in that day. This technological change, and then we have unprecedented events that we call them, environmentally or technologically or whatever. Uh, and then, of course, on top of all of this, we make modern conclusions today, and people talk today like we've figured it out, we have it all together, forgetting that they sit on top of all the floors of this building and eventually the foundational truths supporting that they are not independent. They're very much connected to the building below them. And so this is an example of human history. So the best answers then, I would suggest, are not new, but old. Now, new suggestions, when they reflect the old ones, may be very useful, and especially when it comes to relevance. But the old ideas are worth looking into and comparing. First of all, the beginning is foundational. It's an anchor and it's closer to the original thought. And so I think the farther we dig down into what is this whole building sitting on top of, we're going to find the answers that we need. And the human heart has only one remedy. The brokenness of the human heart comes from sin, and sin was dealt with by God Himself through His Son, Jesus Christ. And Jesus Christ is the Son of God. He sacrificed Himself that He may be able to, by grace, bring people back from darkness and into light. And so the problem is it's a process. So the work that He's doing in human lives, even in Christians that have made a profession of faith in Christ, there's still that process of moving from darkness to light. And He's changing us and He's making us better, especially as we obey His word. So those are the things that's the remedy of the heart of God, and it's of the heart of man, and it's always been that way. It's not changed because we live in some modern era. The time-honored wisdom is still good for living today. So because things were spoken about a human heart that hasn't changed way back in the days, those things can still be used today because that heart hasn't changed. It's still the same broken heart of the human race. And so things like the joy of searching out the root meanings of things. For example, Ecclesiastes was written in uh, in the BC, so it was before the time of Christ. Solomon wrote in a certain culture, in a certain language, in a certain what. So we need to ask our question. We need to suggest, what did the author mean in his context? What did the reader expect in this context? And so we have to study history. We have to study the events that were going on, and then find the root meaning of what was being said. And we can apply that today because applications need to be adjusted for relevance. I'll give you an example. Jesus washed the disciples' feet in John. In the book of John, it's written down. And so, what did that mean when Jesus washed the disciples' feet? Some churches today, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it, wash each other's feet, like physically, literally wash each other's feet. And it's a very humiliating practice, and I think it touches upon what Jesus was trying to get across. But when we look at the culture of the first century and Jews and Palestine especially, what was Jesus saying, and what was his disciples seeing and hearing and relating to as he made this proclamation to you should wash each other's feet even as I have done? Well, first of all, you didn't wash a person's feet unless you were the lowest of servants in the household. So he's saying you need to lower yourself, you need to humble yourself for each other, take care of each other, because the washing of the feet was a caring thing, and wash the dirt off of each other. So you have to take responsibility for one another, and for not for your salvation, but for that which, when you're walked around on the streets, the dirt that clinged to you. And so there was a responsibility on the part of the disciples to take care of each other, especially in a moral and spiritual sense. So that's how can we do that today? Well, and we don't need to wash each other's feet per se, but we can apply it in many different ways in which we take care of each other. We call each other up, or we text somebody, or we spend time in fellowship and honest interaction with each other. So those are the things that I'm talking about with bringing the root meaning out and applying it in our day and age. So what are my main sources of ancient wisdom? Well, first of all, the Bible. I do believe it is the Word of God. I do believe it is authoritative. I know some people might have a problem with the fact that there's so many translations and there's so many versions and there's what about this, what about that. I find that it is very helpful, very useful, and applicable if we are willing to listen. I also believe that ancient proverbs from different cultures can be very helpful, because the farther you get closer to that foundational truth, it seems to cut through all the stuff, all the din, the the noise that is involved these days around scrolling through to find who's going to say the right thing or some pithy saying. Instead, these ancient proverbs often deal with they just cut right through it to what's really in need. So I do enjoy looking at different things from different cultures as well. So Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 9 through 11. And if we take a look at it here, we'll see that there's 3 verses here, and it says, "That which has been is what will be, that which is done is what will be done, and there is nothing new under the sun. Is there anything of which it may be said, see, this is new? It has already been in ancient times before us. There is no remembrance of former things, nor will there be any remembrance of things that are to come by those who will come after. So again, there's nothing new under the sun, but there's also people saying, oh, look, this is new, this is new. And it's possible that we've just forgotten, and we need to take time to go back and look again. So we need to remember how to get back to where we were. So that's an introduction. It has been said is going to be a series of different videos. I hope it benefits you, and I hope that you'll give us a little bit of feedback, and we'll see where it goes from here. Thank you for listening.